Yeah, people, I am gonna lie. This episode, we gotta start a little bit on 10 because I can't start off with love when I'm upset in terms of what Shonen Jump just did to Ayashimon. In case you don't know, the creator of Hell's Paradise had a new manga, Ayashimon, that had a lot of potential. Same scenario you've heard time and time again that I've reported of, like Hungry Joker, Barrage, Iron Knight, Red Sprite, you name it. The cancellations of the series that have the potential because the Japanese readers aren't immediately gravitating, it pisses us off. But what they just did with Ayashimon, is there even any point in investing in reading a weekly Shonen Jump manga anymore unless it has a full-on anime announcement or something like that, or it's already completed? Because this is outright, like, disrespectful towards the fans. Like, this is straight up Shonen Jump saying, you know what, we appreciate that y'all supported for 25 chapters Ayashimon by the creator of Hell's Paradise, very big deal. Screw you, we don't care, we don't care. Or you could even throw it on Nujikaku. I don't know who made the call to do this, but fam, in case you don't read Ayashimon, I'm gonna fill you in on the very last chapter, the very ending of how this series ends. Because you ready for it? You ready for it? It has no ending. That's like if right now in the middle of my sentence, and that's vital information that you just missed out on, right? Nah, relax. That was just an editing trick. I didn't say nothing. I just wanted to give you a demonstration of it ended horribly with no ending. That's right, people. Literally, the last page of Ayashimon is just in the middle of a fight. If that isn't cancellation at its absolute worst, nothing is. Like, how do you do that? How do you go into a story? How do you start off a manga and 25 chapters in, it's like, we're in the middle of a fight and that's it. It's like, and I've seen what Shonen Jump has done. They've had some egregious endings. The ending of Hungry Joker to this day kind of ticks me off because it was like, we was in the middle of greatness starting, and then they did this big round table captain, think like Aizen and Bleach with all of the freaking Espada around him. Like, they had this really epic ending, but at the very least, it was like, they tried to give some type of ending. Like, literally, Ayashimon could have been that, hey, we're at that final fight, and whatever, he decides to walk away from boss life or something like that. The fact that they went this route, like, oh my god. Because Ayashimon's final chapter and final page were released, that got everyone crazy, and volume 2 and 3 will be released June 3rd and August 4th, respectively. The series ended abruptly without any signs of finishing the story properly, nor are there any notifications of final chapters continuing on in Jump magazines like Magu-chan did, because there's other series, even going back to Neurorise of the Yokai Clan, when there's not a really good ending in place and there's like a decent amount of invested readers, usually they'll be like, okay, in one of our sister magazines, we'll give you 3 extra chapters so you can wrap this up. They didn't even give him the courtesy of that. They just said, you know what, you didn't do it, you didn't meet our expectations, despite the fact that I felt volume 1 sales were not that bad. And I'm going to actually give you a really good example of why they're not that bad, because we got some other segments talking about sales down in this episode that you're going to want to check out as well. But in particular, one of the latest series from Kodansha magazine, I covered it here on the channel, called Gachi Akuta, just released its first volume, and the first week sales are in. And I'm telling you right now, unless otherwise I state, Gachi Akuta is probably going to continue on and be the next thing in that magazine. But its sales for its first volume after a full week out on stands was about 12,000 some odd copies. I want to say it was like 12.7. I'll have it here up on the screen so you can see it for yourself, but it did around less than 13,000, right? However, Ayashimon from Shonen Jump did, with its first volume, about 16,000 in a full week. And Ayashimon is ending, and Gachi Akuta, in a different publication, is not. Now, you could argue that expectations are different. You could argue that maybe in that weekly Shonen magazine release in Kodansha, for them, 12,000 is a lot, but for Jump, 16,000 ain't a lot. But there's plenty of other series that have continued to go on in weekly Shonen Jump that did way less than even Gachi Akuta. So it's just kind of puzzling that we're probably within the next 3 to 4 years gonna see Gachi Akuta with an anime and everything, and Ayashimon will be a distant memory. A series with mad potential and weekly Shonen Jump, really cool characters, cool fights, mafioso stuff, and Yakuza, and all of this really cool stuff. And it's not going to go anywhere because 16,000 ain't enough for weekly Shonen Jump. And again, you could argue, hey, if that's their expectations and it's their magazine, then so be it. But my whole thing is, dog, you gotta give the readers some type of conclusion. You cannot do this. This is so disrespectful to literally stop. Like, just imagine, like, imagine Naruto just randomly ended in the middle of, like, the Rock Lee versus Gaara fight or something. Or imagine One Piece ended, like, in the middle of Luffy punching Arlong or something. Like, you would be like, what the hell are you doing? And yes, there were a lot of people that rocked with Ayashimon, so you cannot say that there wasn't any backing. It's just that Shonen Jump is a little bit bougie, fam. Shonen Jump on some bougie release stuff in 2022. I don't know exactly what their expectations are, but it appears that 16,000 first week ain't enough, especially if there's no rankings on top of that to back it, and it's such a freaking disgusting shame. This is just wrong, and again, I say this often, but I will just show you guys moving forward of how I am going to react to Weekly Shonen Jump manga that don't have an anime backing. Like, I'm not gonna be the guy rushing to talk about it. I don't care. It's like, it's too painful, and I feel like I'm also cheating you guys out of like, hey, I'm telling you, yo, this shit is really awesome, and then if it doesn't pan out, then, you know, 4 months later, you're there invested in a series that gets dumped out, and it's like, oh, we gotta start from scratch again. So I'm going to very much so, as much as I love anime manga, try my best to avoid talking about the newer stuff until there's an established fan base, until I know that it's gonna stick around, and that'll take some time sometimes. I mean, look, Masashi Kishimoto's Samurai 8 lasted a whole freaking year in Weekly Shonen Jump magazine, and they still canceled. They threw Kishimoto out the magazine. So we gotta wait and see, but either way, I gotta stress that this is one of the most horrendous cancellations in Jump history.